Good day everyone. Now this video is going to be an analysis of what happened in Soweto Pimville last week. We are going to be looking at social responsibility theory. And then let me ask you a question. Do businesses have a social responsibility to the community? This is a question that we are going to be discussing for the whole video. For background, a week ago, an Uber driver was killed in Soweto and 2 cars were burnt, and there was a person in one of them. And then it is alleged that a taxi driver or a taxi association was part of this whole killing or this incident. And then in the following day, the people of Pimville, Soweto, took to the streets to protest and to hold the mall accountable, or rather the mall security personnel accountable, in saying that the security personnel were supposed to actually do something and help or do something in the whole situation, in making sure that such a thing does not happen. They were not supposed to allow it. That is the argument posed by the protesters. And to make sure that their voices were heard, they even pledged not to buy from the mall and make sure that the mall was closed. To reiterate the question, do businesses have a social responsibility to fulfill towards the community in which they are located, the environment through which they are located? I'm going to be answering this question through 2 perspectives of social responsibility theory, and that being from Milton Friedman's view and Norman E. Bowie's view. And then I will have my part or my comment at the end of the video. Now for our first form of analysis, we are going to turn to Milton Friedman. Milton's argument in simple form, in the simplest form, it's simply that businesses do not have a social responsibility. However, it is the individuals within the business that have a social responsibility. He is simply echoing that a business is not a human being, and its primary responsibility is to generate profits. He says in his article, what does it mean that business has a responsibility? Only people have responsibilities. A corporation is not a person, and in this sense, it may have artificial responsibilities. But business as a whole cannot be said to have responsibilities, even in the vaguest of senses. And then he proceeds to even say, he says, social responsibility as a theory is fundamentally subversive in a free society. He says it is only one's social responsibility. There's only one social responsibility of a business, and then he says it is to use its resources and engage in activities designed to increase its profits, so long as it stays within the rules of the game. And then the rules of the game he gives us, that as being engages in free and open competition without any deception and fraud. So it is clear, we can definitely draw from that and say, with what Milton is saying, the mall was not supposed to do anything. In fact, the mall acted, or the mall security personnel acted in an ethical way. It has no responsibility bearing to the environment or the people or the community whatsoever. It does not owe the people any form of responsibility. It is not a part of, it is simply an artificial person. It cannot be binded by the same rules that bind the community. So therefore it is exempt. So he's saying it's okay that the mall did not do anything. Now we're going to look at a different scholar, Norman E. Bowie. Norman is of the notion that different corporations are actually to be held accountable, and they are actually socially responsible. He defines social responsibility as a concept whereby companies decide to voluntarily contribute to a better society and a cleaner environment. His view is rooted in the idea or in the way companies have conducted themselves in the past, such as restaurants. Restaurants have always had a social responsibility in terms of making sure that the food that they sell is actually healthy, it's not calorie rich, and it's not expired. They have to act in a way that they promote the social welfare of the community. And for him, that shows a sense of social responsibility within a corporation or a business as a whole. With American businesses, they adopt corporate social responsibility on the belief that there is a plausible cause for corporate social responsibility. So they have to believe that there's actually something that they are working towards or something that they are actually solving. And then goes on to say that European companies or corporates, they commit to sustainability. They also commit to supporting a number of international human rights agreements, and then both in their own businesses and in their business activities. So he points out that these are two different ways of actually partaking in it. One takes an active role, one must actually believe that there's a cause, whilst one takes an active role throughout. And then my thoughts on what Norman Bowie is saying is, I think what he's saying is true. I think it is really what has been happening throughout. An example of this in South Africa is how manufacturing in Kariga, I really wrote this thing down. Manufacturing in Kariga has led to a skills development in the area. Lastly, my thought around this is that I align mostly with what Norman E. Bowie is saying. He's really pointing out something that is important. It's definitely noting that this is something that companies actually do. They choose to actually do this thing, which is engage with the community, help out where they can, engage them with drives anyway in their capacity. However, I align more with what Milton Friedman was saying. It's not a corporation's business to actually meddle in what's happening in the community. Is it not enough that they already giving people in the community a job or jobs? Is it not enough that they are contributing to the local economy in various ways? There are actually hawkers who are around the mall. People are sustaining themselves through the mall. So the presence of the mall in that specific place is not only sustaining the mall, it's not only working for the mall, it's also working for the people that are within the community. So if the people protest and pause operations in the mall, then the people who depend on the mall will not actually be able to make a living because they depend on the people who are going to the mall to actually help them. So I align more with what Milton was saying in the sense that corporates and businesses are in business to only generate profit and nothing else. They don't want much more than that. They are really concerned with that one thing. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. We'll see you on the next episode.